to the DCCAP E-Summit Spring Edition, I guess. So hopefully everyone's doing okay. My name is Tim Deep. I'm the Customer Success Manager at DCCAP. I'll be hosting today. But next, I'd like to bring up Ateesh and Dave Ben. So first, Ateesh Vankayala, he's a technologist at heart and aspires to change the world through technology. He has helped Fortune 500 companies with their digital transformation and loves sharing his expertise with others who are also trying to drive this difficult change. And I'd like to bring up Dave Ben as well. He'll be the one interviewing Ateesh today. And Dave, he's a leader in driving transformational business change for both billion-dollar and emerging companies. ES Tech Group and Evolution X President Dave Ben is committed to helping any size B2B distributor affordably and efficiently realize its full online selling potential. And today, the Q&A session, the topic will be on what is the first steps towards digital transformation. So I'd like to welcome up Dave Ben and Ateesh Vankayala.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Yeah. So let me kick it off here. And like everything crazy that's happened in the last 18 months, Ateesh and I have never met face to face, but we've been united here by DCCAP to share some ideas and lessons learned around, I don't know, maybe it's an overused phrase, digital transformation, but I just thought briefly I could do an intro myself and then pass to Ateesh. He can do an intro and then we'll kind of go back and forth and share some lessons learned. So just my background, that nice picture that Tim has where I've got no beard. I now have a beard with gray hair and I've been doing, I don't know, this B2B commerce, digital stuff for a long time. The first website I built was way back in 1999, business to business site, and spent a lot of time in large global companies running IT and actually helping really the last 15 years, distributors specifically with B2B capabilities and solutions. And the last 4 years as president of a company called ES Tech Group, which, as Tim mentioned, we're really here to help the small, medium, even large distributors compete with some of the kind of big box providers who are effective online. How do we help the smaller distributors be equally effective as the large guys and kind of level the playing field? So that's my quick intro. Ateesh, maybe over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. That's a very impressive background. Hello, everyone. My name is Ateesh Vankayala. Very happy to be here. As Tim had queued me up, I am very excited and happy to share my little learnings with a few years of experience in this industry. So I am very excited to be here. A little bit about my background. My career was, you could say, split into two parts. First part was primarily financial services, software development, getting into product management. And the separator between the two was my MBA. And then I switched over more to the business side, went into product management more fully in the industrial distribution space, starting with a startup called Gamut that was acquired by Granger, and we'll get into, I think it's part of the natural conversation why. And then over the last 3 months, I've been working at Bunzl. So, and now it has come full circle where I lead a team of product managers and technology group. Just a little note, I am very much into dry humor. So if I say something and you're like, why is he saying that? I'm probably joking. So please keep that in mind and forgive my poor jokes.
And Ateesh, we might team up on that because maybe from the accent, you can kind of tell I'm not originally from the US. And so I'll bring a little British humor if I can.
Yeah, for me, it's like coffee without the coffee. It wakes up your brain and keeps you going through the day. So yeah, I love humor.
Anyway, maybe Ateesh, I think we can just go back and forth here, and I'll pitch in with just really, digital transformation. I actually think it's kind of overused, and what does it really mean? And in my mind, digital transformation can actually be completely making a huge difference in a manufacturing facility. But I think the audience here is primarily focused around customer-facing aspects of it and commerce. And I guess, Ateesh, maybe just share like what are some of the fundamental things you see before, people say digital transformation and it's a key strategy, but just like your lessons learned, what really has to be in place if some kind of transformation or big change is going to happen for it to be successful?
Right. And I loved how you separated the customer facing from the, let's call it back office. It could be a distribution center, it could be a call center, and of course we all talk about a website, but it's equally, if not more important, to use technology to help solve modern day problems, right? And I'm talking HR systems, account receivables, like all of the traditional portions of an organization. Technology can help solve. But we'll stick to the topic and talk about how we can help customers, benefit and make the process of transacting with us easier. And when I say us, I mean businesses that are trying to sell to other businesses, right? So, Dave, your question was what must be in place? I would say there's several things, obviously, but the first thing that needs to be in place is the why, right? Like digital transformation is extremely hard, like you were alluding to earlier. And sadly, I would say if you had to give a pass or fail grade to the companies trying to do it, about 8 of them would fail. Like they would come out and say that you failed, that they don't go bankrupt, but they didn't quite achieve what they were hoping to achieve through digital transformation. So incredibly hard. But the first thing that we need to have is the why. Like why do we want to go down this journey? Like it's not because everyone else is doing it. Is that the right thing to do for your business? And that's typically the answer is yes there. But sometimes the next question, which is this the right time? Is where people get it wrong. Like a lot of businesses are not ready for digital transformation. What it takes, they think it is adding a new website on top of their existing organization, and that's not it. Some of the speakers earlier talked about how content is everything, and I kind of agree with that. It starts with the business, and the website is like the end product or the end result. But if you think about making a movie, we see the actors, but there is a whole cast of characters behind the scenes that make it happen. So I think the why is fundamental and very important to start a digital transformation journey.
Yeah, no, Ateesh, I love what you just said. I would say my lessons learned too are it's often thought of as like, oh, this is an IT initiative, and it is absolutely not, should not be an IT initiative. It should be a business strategy. And the other thing I think I've learned along the way and always say is, businesses are running day to day, and everybody's got a full-time job running the business, making it better. And so I actually think even if let's just stick with the concept that you might want to create a really awesome new e-commerce solution and engage your customers in a different way. I think it probably has to be for 6 to 12 month period a number one strategy, like sales, revenue, manufacturing focused strategy. Because organizations can only manage so much change at once. And so I know I just kind of think that's a critical success factor. And if the executive team doesn't view it as that important, probably not a good time to start. But I don't, Ateesh, maybe just some comments there or thoughts.
You read my mind. I've been dying to share an example, and I won't say from where because I don't want to shame any of my existing or previous employers. But that's absolutely right. And what you're getting to is focus, right? Like focus is beautiful, focus is powerful. And when you're doing something as difficult as digitally transform your company, there's not much else you can do that you spend about the same time and energy on. And as product managers or I would say anyone, prioritization is key, right? So the example that I was going to talk about is, one of the companies I worked at, I was hired to digitally transform. One thing that kept coming up, and we'll talk more about today, is the people, right? You got to hire the right people, and you got to motivate them to help the business. But as I was looking to build a team and assign the appropriate roles, one of the things I heard was, we have too many, vice presidents reporting to vice presidents here. We have too many directors reporting to directors here. That's we want to do less of that. Like, yeah, that fundamentally makes sense. I get irritated when I see 4 levels of VPs, and I was like, just add a few more levels,
Yes, get rid of the overhead, right? There's got to be a joke about that somewhere, Ateesh.
It's not coming right now, Dave. It's not coming. But yeah, I mean, I fully agree with that. But if I am looking to hire a solution architect, and that person is going to define our technology roadmap, and if I need that person to be at a director level, and again, titles vary across company. In my company, I want that person to be a director level. And if their manager is a director, that's not a reason I would choose to hire someone with less experience. Like, it's just a small example, but I couldn't agree more. You have to pick your battles, and focus is extremely important. And not or trying to do too many things at once is the recipe for disaster.
Yeah. No, I think so. And you picked up there, Ateesh, on the people aspect, and I know I always say philosophically, no initiative today really happens without the whole combination of people, process, and technology changing in a very coordinated way. And I think actually, even as we do a work with small, medium-sized distributors, and I've done it in the large companies. Just a classic example is certainly with e-commerce. Sometimes parts of the existing organization feel threatened, like, oh, you're taking over my sales role, or my marketing role is now really different. And yes, the marketing role is different. I actually don't think we're taking over the sales role and just putting it online. But it's definitely that whole aspect of thinking of the big picture. And I actually think engaging the organization in the whole initiative. And I don't know, Ateesh, if you've run into it, but let's say in many distributors, there's a lot of language there about, a new e-commerce site is like opening another branch of the business. It's just another branch. And I actually fundamentally disagree with that concept, because I think if it's effective, it actually engages every branch that exists today. And a branch, I'm meaning like an outlet where it's a channel. And so I always think taking that holistic view, and you said it right at the start, is what is really the business strategy? What are the goals before you embark on the project? And getting that really clear, getting the business, like what is the role of sales, marketing, I would say supply chain people too, right? It has a supply chain implication, because as companies go more online, there's this next day, same day, next day, 2-day expectation of a supply chain. So yeah, I think people, process, technology, organizational change management is definitely critical to success. And as you said, Ateesh, right at the start, lots of projects fail. It feels like more fail than succeed versus the original intent.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is not having it as a number one strategy, and getting the people and the process piece really engaged too. So
yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. A website being a sales channel, I see that happening in the B2B world, maybe 3 or 4 decades later. But right now we're not there yet. Like, our customers have grease on their hands, right? And they're not going to go fidget with a computer to get this stuff. We're certainly not there yet. And where technology is right now, or where an e-commerce website is right now, is playing more of a supporting role to the existing channels, right? So be that Salesforce, the website is going to help them be smarter in front of their customers, right? Because no salesperson is an expert in every single product category that their companies sell, especially in the places I worked at, broadline distributors, everything from screws to microwaves. Nobody's an expert. Use the website to help you be an expert. Phone customer support agents, use the website to get the information quickly. So the e-commerce strategy is an augmentation to the existing channels right now. Yes, eventually as the current generation dies out and people go exclusively online, where even talking to someone on the phone is I don't know what the right word is. I'll just use lazy for now. And you just want to do it online. In fact, not even sit in front of a computer. Do it on the phone, right? I see that happening a few decades from now, and then you can say yes, e-commerce is a channel, the biggest channel for the business, and most companies that have done decently well are seeing the biggest growth in that e-commerce channel. But we are nowhere there yet. Most of our customers would find what they're looking for and call their sales rep to order, as one of the previous presenters was saying. So it's not a separate branch. It is the basis or the foundation for the existing channels.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think, Ateesh, you must see it in Bunzl, as you said. It's a very broad line, very broad offering, right, that covers multiple industry verticals if you kind of fragmented it to some extent into different industries. And I think one thing we see, and one thing I've experienced, is I would say I spent 10 years in the business supplies, kind of office products vertical with a wholesaler. And I think you could make an argument anyway that that's now the most advanced vertical in terms of percentage of sales done online. Most dealers, distributors are doing 60, 70% online. And I would say it happened there. For one reason, the products are the kind of things that are easily purchased online, right? They're commodity products. It's paper or pencils, Post-it notes. But the other thing that happened was a big box player, namely Staples. Staples showed up in the vertical and decided, hey, we're going online. And they did the most awesome job with content, the actual e-commerce customer experience. And I think what we see as we look at other verticals like industrial, electrical, plumbing distribution, we're actually in gas and welding, safety. There's a lot of distributors, maybe, dare I say, still sleeping, thinking, I don't really have to get into this. But what we see, and we learned in business supplies, is those big box players, including now Amazon Business in some of the verticals, but like Grainger in industrial, MSC industrial, that smaller, more independent distributors are losing sales to those bigger entities where somebody goes and Googles for product. And the sale actually goes, and the distributor who's had the customer relationship actually doesn't realize they lost the sale. So I'm always intrigued to ask customers. I always think it's interesting to ask your customer, where else are they buying product, and see what answer you get. Because I think if they'll be transparent and honest, it's like, okay, why are you buying over there? Why not from me? But anyway, just philosophically, how do you actually earn more share of spend from existing customers? Because sometimes people view e-commerce as, how do I find new customers? The whole SEO. But I think there's a really as important a question in B2B as, how do I get my existing customers to buy more from me instead of the alternatives? But I don't know, how do you see it in the Bunzl world, Ateesh?
Yeah, and I would say a lot of, I'm still new at Bunzl, so most of the talking and my experience would come from the startup gamut and Grainger. But since you brought up Staples, I'll take a quick detour, like a 30-second detour. And it's related, I promise. So I was purchasing a chair from Staples this morning. Why Staples? Because I had a gift card. And I currently sit on, this, you could call this like an uncomfortable sofa. It's neither a sofa nor a chair, so it's an uncomfortable sofa. Finally, the jokes are coming. And then I went to Staples, and I'm like 6'3". So I went to a store and I sat on a few chairs, and then if you think of the sternum like the thigh bone, the chair was just half of my sternum, right? So the rest of my the half of my thigh to my knees were like hanging out. And I sat in every single chair and none of them fit. So they're like, sir, we have bigger selection online. I'm like, that defeats the purpose. I want to sit on a chair and find the comfort. So I go online, and lo and behold, they have this attribute, product information, called seat depth. What the stuff that you see on airlines. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I'm impressed. I would have never expected that on a website like Staples. I would expect a brand, a price, and a description, which would kind of vary as you go from one chair to another, meaning you couldn't even compare the two. So I saw this extremely important attribute called seat depth, and I'm like, okay, I'm impressed. This is the starting of something magical. And like, okay, let me go back up to the chairs category, and let me apply a filter or sort by seat depth, and then I'll pick the biggest one. That didn't exist in the filter. I was brought back to reality when I went to the filter. I saw price, I saw brand, and I saw something else. And I'm like, see, this is where it's the last mile, right? I was, as a customer, I was almost there. I could have been in and out in a few minutes, but it took me like 30 minutes because of that little piece. So it's all about it's all about the foundations and getting that right. Sorry, Dave. Can you just remind me what your original question was?
No, it's good actually. I think it's okay. It leads into basically, offline and online is mapping a customer journey.
Yeah.
When you kind of took a customer journey this morning, and it didn't quite get you to the destination.
Right.
Another interesting aspect is, and there's actually a question in the Q&A, Ateesh, that is, how to interact or start with customers, especially new prospects in digitalization. And one of the things we talk a lot about is, do you actually understand who the customer is, like a persona? And so part of our business spin stack actually sits with the distributor and says, okay, who are your customers? Like, what do they do, and what's their persona? And then what's their kind of buying pattern, buying journey in today's world, and how does that map? And I think, to the question here, just to hit that one that's in the Q&A, how do you start with customers? I actually think it is really thinking through who is the customer, what's their buying behavior, and how might that change or improve, hopefully, as if they do something online.
Right.
And then, I'll just come back to in a second, Ateesh. There's it's funny how we're selecting Staples here. Hopefully they're not listening. But and some of my colleagues and customers have heard me say this. So just Staple, I think the focus in B2B is actually the primary focus, if you're not online today, is sell more to current customers.
Yep.
The next
that was your question.
Yeah, sell more to current customers. And so Staples had a trick actually when they signed customers up, and they statistically proved this, is if you can get a existing customer or new customer, but existing customer, to come 3 times to the site and procure something, they're going to keep coming back.
Right.
So that simple thing was you gave a coupon code or a promotion on the first 3 orders, and it's like simple stuff. But anyway, I rambled a lot there. So shut me down and share some thoughts.
The existing customers is such a important topic, and I could easily talk for an hour. Let me try and condense that to 60 seconds. Like quit running after new customers, like serve your existing customers properly, and then you deserve to get new customers. But again, speaking from the broadline distributor perspective, the biggest thing there is the marketing or the what should be marketing is helping customers understand what your offering is, right? Like I've heard over and over again, customers would come to Grainger and purchase some fasteners or screws, and then they would go to a McMaster and purchase calipers, and then they would go to Uline and purchase boxes. And we would just go and speak to some customers as part of our research, and I'm like, why aren't you buying the calipers from Grainger? Why aren't you buying the boxes? We have so many of them. Like, oh really? You said calipers? I had no idea. I would come in, get my fasteners and get out, because that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, and I've been always buying calipers from McMaster, so that's what I do. It's like, okay, but wouldn't it be simpler if instead of going to 3 websites, you went to one, you got one invoice, you submitted the thing once in your internal platform, and you all received it in one box or the same day? Like that would be life changing, but uh, I don't know what all of the products that you sell. You sell 2 million products. I don't know all of them, and that is where I feel like making the customer journey too easy is also not good from a financial perspective, right? You obviously want to help them out as much as possible, but a bigger picture help is if you can show them things that they didn't think they needed, right? Or they didn't know that you had. And that is where the entire arena of product recommendations, compliments comes in, is where at the right time, without being too pushy, you insert relevant products into their customer journey so that they can actually not only educate themselves of what your company does, but they can actually save time by not having to. All of us have done that. We've gone back to Home Depot 3 times to finish a project because we had no clue you needed that thing. That's what we need to solve. Then that's how you get more from existing customers.
No, I agree. Ateesh, we got 5 minutes left, so I've got 3 takeaways so far. Maybe we can find a 4th, but mine was what you said is it's got to be a business priority across the organization. It is people, process, and technology. And I personally think we hit, for me, a lesson learned, maybe in some cases the hard way. But number one thing is sell more to your existing customers. The gravy of finding new customers can come later, but it's often a missed opportunity. And as I say, get more dollars out of their wallet, steal some more dollars out of that share of spend. Higher for you. So I think that's super important. And then Ateesh, maybe just say a little bit about what you've seen as the right kind of people, talent to kind of run the site. I'm thinking kind of marketing, sales. What kind of background would you say a B2B distributor really should think of bringing into the team to help accelerate success?
Right. I think marketing and sales, but also generally working for a B2B company, the mistake that I see people making over and over again is mistaking their experience to what the customer wants, right? So being human, we always jam in the B2C context in a B2B world, and they are very different. Yes, we are both Homo sapiens, but then that's pretty much where the difference,
There's a joke coming here. I can feel it.
That's where the commonality ends, right? Because I'm buying diapers, and my customer is in a facility where the noise is so deafening that they need an NRR headphone, which is I don't know, 5,000, right? So when you think about building a voice search, you'll probably have your B2C hat on, because you're thinking you're sitting in a quiet office environment and you're ordering some donuts, from the Dunkin' Donuts website. But if you're in a facility where it is so loud, voice search is not going to work, right? So it's just a simple, silly example to say that, yes, we are both humans, but the needs are very different. And the more you think about the B2C mind frame, the more you think about the B2C customer, the farther you're going to be in terms of helping your true business customers. So that's especially true from a marketing and sales perspective. Is one thing to look at is where are they coming from, right? Are they coming from a B2C world, and if they're coming from a B2C world, it's okay. But it's important to ask the questions in the interview, which is, how would you sell to my customer, right? How would you sell to a Grainger customer? And listen to what they say. If they start talking about laser cats and robotic bees, then you probably have the wrong person.
Okay, Ateesh, I'm going to summarize the takeaway because I think we're agreeing on something else. And by the way, just for everybody listening, we didn't rehearse anything here. But here's the number one thing I've seen go wrong a lot of times is B2B customers are hiring B2C experienced people to run their B2B site. And it is not, I would say bluntly, it's barring some really smart thinking of the B2C person, it's not going to be the right person. And I'm passionate about the idea that it's procurement, not shopping, right? In the B2B space. And it is different. And the features and functions, it's like a lot of repeat orders, maybe subscription orders. And then in a big company, there's a procurement team and they want to, sign off on orders over a certain value or track their purchases against a budget on the website. And so, it's very different. The procurement scenarios in business are very different. And so I think it's actually a very difficult hire. It's finding somebody who is in the B2B world, but ideally has got that digital experience, and ideally probably from maybe somebody you're looking up at saying, hey, they seem to be doing this pretty well. I don't know. It's tough.
Right.
I guess all we can say is you don't want people to come hire your team, right? Ateesh.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm looking myself, so I'm looking up too.
Yeah, but I think it's a great point, and it's not an easy thing. But I would say generally, don't go hire B2C experienced people if you're in B2B. It isn't.
Right.
They're going to steer it. They're going to focus on finding new customers and SEO and simple marketing campaigns. And hope I didn't insult anybody, but.
I might insult someone. Hopefully there are no user experience designers on this call. But
we're getting
kicked out.
Yeah, we're getting the oversight warning, Ateesh. I guess I don't see open questions in the Q&A, but we can at least. I think we can hang on a minute or two here if there are questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy to do so.
You guys have very good rapport. I can't believe this is the first time you guys met. This is great. You guys have
we didn't want to say that, Tim, because everybody would have turned off at the start. No, I think we share similar experiences. We do.
Yeah. And you guys are talking about Staples too. That's actually where I bought all the gift cards for the DoorDash, and it just didn't go through. It wasn't seamless for me with DC Cap. Not just the events planning and all that stuff, but I also do a lot with Matt Johnson says Dave Ben is a legend.
Yes, he is.
Teach. We didn't put enough humor in. That's all.
I know. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Tim. We cut across you. But
with the whole Staples thing, it's so relevant when you guys are talking about don't hire somebody more on the B2C side of things. So just even when I placed the order yesterday, I was just waiting for all the attendees so I could buy you guys the gift cards. And there's nothing for like a portal for me to input all the email addresses and everything. So I got a call. Actually, I got a call exactly during the lunchtime for our e-summit today. So are you Timothy Deep? I just want to make sure that you place an order because it was under $2,000. So yeah, I actually need that right now for all of our attendees so they can have lunch and everything. And then she said, okay, great, confirmed. I'm gonna send it to your email. And then now I have 125 emails with the gift cards. I don't know how I'm gonna distribute it to you guys. I'm gonna find a way, but just really that's the B2C side, right? That's not B2B at all. And if they can make it so I just have the card or whatever it may be, I could just email for all the attendees and make it much more simpler. But I'm really looking at it in terms of buying it as a B2B customer. So it's if you guys are with their website and everything, make sure it's good for that because you're buying multiple part numbers. You're just buying a part number, not from a picture or a visual, right? So I love you guys.
Tim, I just want to let you know that both Dave and I completely see how you slided that excuse in for not getting us lunch. It's you're not as opaque as you think you are. We totally caught you in your act. So
Bob, make sure for our e-summit in November, I'll make sure I get everything, all my ducks lined up. So
that's good. Hey, so Matt, good. Ateesh, I got to invite you to something. We run a pubcast.
Okay.
And it's it's what we're just doing now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna invite
having
you
fun.
To the podcast. Yeah. Well, it's kind of having fun.
Sure.
And I didn't come up with it. Matt Johnson came up with the pubcast name. We thought that I think it's cool. But we could continue the topics and we can share it with and I'll get back to you. But it would be fun.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
I could do the UX designer bashing in your podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Let's take that on next. We've battered the B2C people. We'll batter the UX designers. And actually take 3 is battering SEO consultants. Okay, we better end. Tim's going to cut us off. But Ateesh,
no, you guys did a great job.
you.
I would love to listen
Thank
in
you.
on the distributor podcast too. So, and then
Yeah.
Ateesh, bring your favorite drink. I believe there's a drinking involved for that one too. So,
Yes, there is. If you want.
Thank you, Tim, and yeah,
Yeah,
Dave. This was amazing. Like, I mean, as Dave was saying, this is not rehearsed. This is the first time we're actually conversing over voice and not over emails. And this just goes to show you that, you know, there's not too many varying opinions on what is right and what works and what doesn't work. It's just about like learning that for yourself and then applying it henceforth.
Yeah, I think Tim, you've got a new line of business. It's called B2B e-commerce dating website. It's the e-summit. So Tim, we promise we're going to stop now. We'll let you end it.
Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and that was such a great closing for the e-summit. So thank you guys again for your time and just wonderful conversations. So looking forward to the second round of conversations from you guys.
All right. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for the DCCAP e-summit. So thank you guys so much for just being a part of our journey, and just now you've seen the collaboration between all the different tech partners, customers, and just bringing everybody together for the ecosystem. So hopefully you learned a lot from this. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors, Avalara as the platinum sponsors, Nexus and APS Payments as the gold sponsors, and Dot Digital and Chloris as the silver sponsors. You guys to stay tuned for our next e-summit in November. We do have e-sessions on a monthly basis on specific case study examples. And I think for the one for June will be more on the Jansan industry. So the janitor and sanitation industry. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for all your time, and we'll see you guys again. Stay safe out there. Bye, guys.